amazing artists, so I hope you are ready for the best project in the world, which is my favorite birch tree landscape paintings. So last week we learned all about the different areas in a landscape to help show depth and space in our picture. So the furthest part away, way back here, off in the distance, is called the background. Good. And if it's really up close and it looks huge down here, this is the foreground. And everything in the middle is the middle ground. And then we have that special line that helps divide the sky from the ground. And yes, there may be mountains or trees in the sky, but this is where it stops. And we call that the horizon line. Okay, so I hope you remember that from last week, because we are using that knowledge to help paint the birch trees. Okay, so for this, you are going to need some black paint, something like tempera or acrylic, and you're going to need some cardboard, because what we're going to do is we're going to be learning a new painting technique that we use. So this, I just cut up some pieces of an old Sharpie box. You can use your cereal box, and you want them to be just about the size of, probably smaller than a credit card, because we're going to be using smaller paper, okay? If you do not have black paint, I'm going to give you two other options that you can do, that you can make your birch trees with. I'm hoping that you'll try this new painting style. It's really cool. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it. But if not, I am going to show you two other ways that you can make your birch trees. Okay? So grab what you got and I will show you what to do. Alright, so I got my materials ready. My paper, I am holding it side to side because we are making a landscape painting. You are going to need a pencil. Here's my black paint, and then you probably want to cut a couple of pieces of squares because when cardboard gets wet, it kind of gets soggy, and you want it to actually be really stiff for what we're going to do. Okay, so the first thing we need is that horizon line. So probably around the middle of my paper, I'm going to do a horizon line. Does it have to be straight? No, our earth has bumps and hills. Okay, did I do it super dark? No. Okay, so there is my horizon line. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to be using cardboard because it is very flat and very straight. So this edge, I am going to dip it into my cardboard. So I'll put it right up to the camera so you can see how I have a really nice straight line. Okay. So maybe I want a really big birch tree right in the front of my foreground. So what I'm going to do is use this to kind of get my line settled. Maybe I want my line all the way down. And then to make the birch tree, I'm going to put it on that line and I'm going to scratch, 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 scratch. Okay, so this is one side of the birch tree. Now I want to do the other side. So I'm going to put it here and scratch, scratch, scratch. So did I have perfectly scratched lines? No, it's because birch trees are natural, so they're not going to be perfect, okay? So this is actually what you're looking for. So now I have a big birch tree in the center where my foreground is. What if I want a little tiny tree in the background? Well, I'm going to put a little more paint on the cardboard, and then maybe I'm going to start a little higher. And I'm going to do just a couple of skinny lines. There's one side, flip it over, and do the other side. There, now I have a skinny tree in the background. How about really skinny, far off in the distance? Maybe I'm just going to do one side. Now I'm going to do two. Okay, this is another skinny one. So you're going to fill your paper with your birch trees. Make some far away, make some up close. Now set it aside, it's time to dry. Alright, so if you do not have paint, you can actually make your own, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So what you're going to need is you're going to need like a shiny or a slick surface, like a dinner plate, one of your ceramic plates at home. I do not have that in my classroom, so I actually made my own just by doing some tinfoil on top of cardboard, okay? So this is almost like a palette. All right, so what I'm going to do is I need a washable marker. Sharpies will not work. You need something that is washable, especially if you're going to be on your plate, so you want that anyways. Okay, so I am going to color nice and hard to get that ink out of the marker. Okay, nice and dark. All right, so I'm going to now mix it with water, and this is going to be what makes it into a paint. You're basically making your own watercolor paints. If you have watercolor paints, you can actually add that right into it, and that's going to make it a little darker. Okay, so I'm mixing, I'm making my own paint. All right, so let's test it out. So again, I'm going to use the side. Maybe I want to scrape a little bit just to get a little extra. And then scratch. Place it on the paper and scratch. Scratch. All right, on the other side. Okay, you don't want it to be perfect. You want those scratch marks. Okay, so it does have the same effect. It's just going to be a little bit lighter. You can also make it darker by just repeating, grabbing more of that paint that you made and going right on top of what you already did. Okay, so this is option number 2. I decide it's time to dry. All right, and option number 3. If you do not have any black paint, if you don't have a black marker, you can still draw your own birch trees. So I would do the exact same thing. Draw your horizon line. Decide where I want my foreground tree to go. Okay, so very lightly, one side of the tree. The second side of the tree. And now make some birch tree scratches. You can do some in the middle, some on the side. Okay, so you can also use crayons or colored pencils to do your birch trees this way. Okay, my painting is dry, so now I'm going to start doing my details and my background. So, since this is a forest, what do I want in my forest? Okay, maybe I want to have a branch with a little cardinal. Bring some color into my picture. That's where my cardinal's going to go. This is called sketching. I'm doing light little lines. Ooh, maybe I want to have signs of spring start. I'm going to do some grass or maybe a little mud puddle. Maybe there's a pond in my forest. Okay. Maybe I want to have a little bunny. Where's my bunny? Since it's close in the foreground, I'm going to draw him a little bit bigger than my other details. And let's give him some footsteps because he just hopped in. Okay, or maybe there's a big moose or a deer in between your trees. Okay, so you're going to sketch out what you want your picture to look like first. Now it is time to paint. Okay, so I'm going to start with the background. Okay, so that means the sky. What is in between my trees? Okay, so that horizon line shows me where the sky should stop. Skies do not go right at the top. They come all the way down until they hit that horizon line. Okay, so is it a sunny day? Maybe it's sunset. Maybe I want to add some different colors in. So I'm actually going to start with blue. All right. So I got my sky done, and you can tell now more where the sky is and where your birch trees are because you left the inside of your birch trees white and the background you painted your color, whether it is blue or maybe it's nighttime or sunset with yellows and oranges. That is up to you, okay? So the ground, it is wintertime right now. I like snow scenes, so I'm going to leave it white, but if you want to make grass or springtime. So now it's time to paint the other details like my bunny, the grass, the sky. All right, let's keep going. step, if you want to do this, this is optional, is if you have white paint at home, and say if you want to keep it a snowstorm, okay, some wet paint. You can either tap your finger and do some splattering for snow. The other option is using a toothbrush and splattering the snow that way. Make it a nice little snow landscape. All right, so here is my finished landscape picture. Okay, so I've got my birch trees, remember, bigger ones in the front and small skinnier ones help make it look like it's in the back. I painted my sky all the way to the horizon line. I added some little creatures into my painting. Okay, so this can be a really fun and awesome project. They look great when they're done. Okay, so I can't wait to see what you come up with. Take a picture of it, send it back to me into the Google Classroom, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys.